Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the thumb. So I looked out and I saw the sky was pink, which usually means that there's a nice sunrise. This is actually kind of behind my barn from my house, but I can usually tell by how the whole sky looks on what the sunrise is going to look like. But anyway, today's it's like mid-July, like July 13th, I believe it is. I'm going to do a quick little crop tour. You guys, obviously, anybody that's been watching my videos knows that I do a little farming, and I don't really film everything because I don't really like taking the time to, set up cameras and stuff when I really have important things to do. But anyway, yeah, stick with me, and I'm gonna go through all the different crops. 2 weeks from now, some of the crops will be harvested, so I want to check them out while they're still growing. So yeah, hang with me and hope you enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to start out with the most boring part of this. Right now I'm standing in what was my pasture last winter, and it will be again this winter. This is where I'll winter my cattle, at least for the first few years till the herd grows. But this is a spot where my round bales were last year, or one of my round bales when I was bale grazing. But this spring I came in and planted pumpkins in this spot. I figure there's going to be a lot of nutrients in this spot, and just pumpkins being such a big leafed thing and producing such a big thing, they're going to need lots of water and lots of I assume nutrients. But anyway, so yeah, I just planted. I didn't do it on where all the bales were, but probably like a half a dozen of them planted these pumpkins. So yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to watch this fall. I set these. I bought 20 bales from a farmer that farms this ground around my house here. I bought 20 bales from him, and I just set them over my fence. And probably towards fall, or into the fall, I'll go ahead and place those bales in strategic areas for bale grazing for the winter. I still have I planted a little bit of hay, and I'm gonna, take some more round bales off, but probably won't amount to a whole lot this year, but I'll get into that later. Yeah, here's another one of my round bale things. Yeah, these pumpkins are doing really good here. There's I planted, tons of them, tons of seeds, I should say, but I think something came in here and ate them. I don't know if it was like mice or squirrels, but something came in and ate a lot of the seeds. I actually planted a lot of I planted corn in here too. I had some corn seed. I see there's some of it coming up, but yeah, anyway, these pumpkins are doing good. Those ones over there are doing pretty good too. Well, now I'm going to go across the road and show you some of my experimental rye fields. Just doing some of my own little testing. Okay, what I have here, this little, like a little 1 acre plot. This is where I did a video last fall, like in September, I believe it was, where I no-tilled. I wouldn't say even no-tilled. I broadcasted rye, and I want to say I planted buckwheat in that. But I broadcasted it into goldenrod, which was flowering at the time, and yeah, it didn't work out so well. There is still rye growing. There's one there. If I was to try to run a combine through this, I could probably get maybe 10 bushels out of it, and it's about an acre. I'm guessing, maybe a little more than that. But I think what I'm going to do with this is, rather than do that, I might just go ahead and just crimp it down and see what comes up in the spring. And I might even, before I do that, I might throw some radishes or something on it just for the deer, because that's probably part of the reason that this didn't grow very well, because this is a pretty high deer area. But anyway, so yeah, this was, in some ways I would call it a failure, but I was trying to do it very low input just to see what would happen. And very low input, but very bad results. So yeah, mission accomplished. Now on this side, I spent slightly more money on, but not necessarily what I did on my actual crops. But yeah, you can see the rye. The rye did pretty good. What I did here was I put some starter fertilizer on it. That over there I didn't. It was just pretty much just crops. I think I might have put a little bit of, I think I went up to the party store and bought a couple of bags of triple 19. So might have got 100 pounds of triple 19 on it when I planted it. But in this field there was, I also planted Balanza clover in with it. And this still isn't that great because I didn't spray it. There's a lot of leaves. I don't know what these are. I don't know if that's an actual weed or if that's like a tree. It looks like a tree to me. But anyway, yeah, so that's I don't see any of the Balanza clover. I think the Balanza clover is already gone to seed and dried down and withered away. Oh, I think there's one right there. But yeah, what I'm hoping is once I take the rye off, that the Balanza clover will take off. And if the Balanza clover isn't growing good in the spring, I'll probably plant something else. I'm not sure what, but yeah. So this, I mean, there's this field, but then there's way over there's another 4 acres. I think it's a total of about 6 acres of decent rye. This is probably the best part of it, and then there's some good spots in the bigger part of the field, but yeah, there's some bad spots over there too. Doesn't look quite as bad as this other stuff, but yeah, yeah, this is going to be one of my all crop projects. I went around and just made my first pass. I just went around with the brush hog, and you know, so when I go with my brush or with my all crop, I don't have to you know, drive through. Either way, I was going to have to drive over the rye anyway. So anyway, don't want to ramble on, but yeah, so that's this field of rye. Now I'm going to guess I'll probably head over to my black beans and my say my real wheat field. Okay, now I'm standing in my black bean field. Not a real big field because I couldn't get a contract this year, so I didn't want to grow a lot of them. I figure even if I can't find a place to get rid of them this fall, I can just put them in the old elevator, or I should say the granary. I guess you can't see it from here, but it's my father-in-law's farm, and it's a, you know, it's an old 1960s farm, and it's got a little granary on it. So that's what I'll do with it if I can't figure out what to. If I can't find a home for these beans this fall, that's where they're going to go. I'll try to sell them through the winter or whatever. Anyway, so here's the difference between a farmer who really intensely tries to make a living at his farm, or a guy like me who basically it's a hobby farm. I want to be profitable, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money to do it. And the real farmers, what they gain in yield and volume is really about the only way they make money. Me, I'm like, hopefully I'll be profitable, but it's not necessarily going to be by high yield. But anyway, yeah, this is where one row of my planter didn't work. You can kind of see way at the end of the field where it stopped working, or started working, I should say. I don't know why it started working, and I'm glad it did, because I kind of checked on it a couple times before it stopped working. And actually where I checked on it is where it quit working. So but yeah, I had just sprayed my post emerge on it, and you can see it's kind of torched the weeds a little bit, but it kind of didn't do the beans themselves any good either. That's the one thing I've said it before in other videos, but that's pretty much what I hate about black beans is how much spraying you have to do. It looks like I hit that hayfield a little bit too. Anyway, so this is the black beans. I don't know. Yeah, these are 28-inch rows because that's what the planter was set at. And yeah, it's my father-in-law's planter. Pretty much all the equipment is my father-in-law's. And yeah, most people are going to like 20-inch rows or even 15-inch rows on black beans, but I'm not going to do it, at least not anytime soon. Anyway, so that's the black beans. I'm not bragging about these beans, but they should turn out all right. As long as this spray actually works. I mean, they're pretty toasted, these weeds, but they're pretty old too. So yeah, they kind of break off. So I'm guessing maybe they'll be all right. They'll be dead. But I just hope the beans recover a little better than it looks like they might. Some of these places, there's not going to be much of a canopy either. So yeah, this is right next to my father-in-law's house, so I hope I don't embarrass him too much. Anyway, now I'm going to head over to the wheat field, show you a couple different differences in the field over there. Well, now I'm standing in what I call my real wheat field. This is where I actually kind of want to make some profit on it. But I'm standing right in between two former fields. On the right side, last year that was alfalfa. In the fall, I sprayed it and just no-tilled the wheat into it. And then on the left side, that was soybeans last year. Both were planted the same day. I want to say it was like the end of October. I can't remember. It was very late. A lot of people had already quit planting wheat because it was getting late enough. But anyway, I did it anyway. Just planted it heavy. I think I planted it at like 4.5 bushels to the acre. It's going to be ready, I think, when we're coming out of about 3 inches of rain in the last 7 days or so, which we needed it. I mean, and I'm glad it was part of that Hurricane Barrel, I think, was most of the rain. But yeah, it didn't knock the wheat down. That's part of the reason I learned it from Rye, really, but I don't really push the pencil too much on yield, because it seems like when you do that, that's when you start dumping nitrogen on or whatever, you know, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because then that's when it usually goes down in a rain or wind or whatever knocks it down. The thicker it is, seems like there's a point of safety, and there's a point of taking a chance, and there's a point of you didn't take enough chance. So yeah, there's a happy medium there somewhere. But yeah, there's some grass in it, but the grass is dried down. It should go through the combine good. There is some spots where there's some green. This is kind of where the transition part of the field was, and I think the only reason this grass is so thick is because maybe we didn't plant the wheat there quite as heavy as we should have. If we might not even gone there, because they were combining the soybeans while I was started to plant the alfalfa field here. But anyway, yeah, there's a spot up here I want to show you where the deer had kind of taken its toll on some of them. Okay, so here we are in a field. It's still my wheat field, but it's probably the closest to the woods, and it's just kind of a high traffic area for deer. I'm sure they go munch on the alfalfa for a little bit, and then they come over here and pretty much ate all the heads off of the wheat. You look a little closer. Deer. Somewhat deer. And then out there, there's like not much browse going on at all. But yeah, this spot here is pretty much a total loss from the deer. Yeah, I guess if you want to know when your wheat's ready, just look and see how bad the deer are eating it. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much this whole area here. 100 yards by 100 yards maybe, or 50 yards by 50 yards. Pretty much gone from the deer. So I guess now I'll probably head over to the soybean field. Well, now I'm at the soybean field. These soybeans were, seems like I did kind of a, well, let's see, there was some rye and crimson clover growing. I think I might have done a video on that a little bit. Maybe it was just a short or something. But anyway, it was rye and crimson clover. The rye was basically volunteer rye. Crimson clover I planted right after I harvested the rye. But anyway, I burned it down, and then a couple days later, I burned it down with Liberty and Roundup, and a couple days later, just planted into it. It was basically green. That's why it looks so, the rows are so crooked and stuff, but it's filling in good. I was a little concerned about it, but it's kind of taken off now. There's some spots, like these spots here are, this is the headlands, and it's pretty compacted, and it's actually growing. This is probably the best crop I've seen on it in the last 3 crops. So, on the headlands. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go over to another spot that was severely compacted. I want to show you a couple things. Okay, now this part, this is another set of headlands. This area, or this whole headland area, I was considering not even planting it, and then just hit her hard with radishes or some sort of a cover crop with good root structure and break up the compaction. But I just decided to plant it anyway and see what happens, and I don't know, it's turning out all right. I think it's kind of strange because this area over here on my burn down, it didn't kill the rye and clover very well. I think it was just because it was like the beginning and the sprayer booms weren't quite full yet. Maybe it was just basically hitting it with water, but you can really see a difference. I don't know if that's not growing because of the compaction. The parts where it's really tall, or better, I should say, that's where the sprayer wasn't working on the first round. I mean, obviously it's dead now, so it killed it on the second spraying. But yeah, I don't know really why it looks better where yeah, it must have been something to do with the spray, I guess, or biology in the ground. You know, I didn't devastate the ground as much, so maybe that's why it's growing. I don't know. I really don't. But anyway, I'm not an agronomist. Then the other thing that baffles me a little bit is why these blank spots are in here, and I think my theory is that there was a little residue from, the headlands got the windrows from before they baled the rye straw would have been driven over, so there was a little more residue in spots, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe some of these spots weren't from slugs or something. Maybe the slugs ate all because I put non-treated seed on it. So yeah, I'm guessing that's why. But yeah, for the most part, I'm starting to feel better about these soybeans. I was pretty concerned about them like last week, but we got all that rain and that kind of perked them up a little. Okay, now I'm standing basically on the edge of my rye field. This field I'm pretty happy with. Even after that hurricane winds and the 3 inches of rain last week, it stayed standing pretty good. It's leaning a little, and I'm a little concerned about it, but still a little green in the stems, and got at least a week or two before I can combine that. Then this is the oats. If you remember, I did a video on that where early this spring, like first part of April, I should say. Yeah, I just broadcasted the oats onto soybean stubble and disked it in. I mean, honestly turned out pretty good. I mean, it's just about as tall as the rye. The rye, when I sprayed it with 2,4-D in the spring, I put a little Palisade in it, and so that's why it's only 4 feet tall and not 6 feet tall. But yeah, then the oats, I did put 2,4-D on it. It's still a little bit of mare's tail and some other things have been are sneaking through. See, there is some clover growing in there too, which is good. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this oats. It'll be interesting to see how it runs. Let's see. Now I got one little experimental field of wheat and rye to go over, and that'll be pretty much it. So here's a little afterthought. One thing I think is strange, and I've thought it all summer, but I looked real close. This oats was just broadcasted on. You know, of course, the rye was planted last fall, and wasn't really. It might have been greened up a little bit when I planted the wheat or oats, but there's no oats growing in the rye. It's kind of odd. I don't know if it was because it wasn't disked up or if it's that allelopathic effect of the rye. It's almost like I drilled right up to it, and yeah, but yeah, there should be. I mean, theoretically, there should be oats growing in there. But yeah, that's just a little side note tidbit. So here's kind of a neat little thing. Started it last year. Yeah, last year was the first season that guy brought in some honeybee hives. Yeah, he just said he was looking for a place to put them and asked if he could put them there, and I said yes, sir. Yeah, I think it would be good for, you know, pollination of the beans and stuff like that. So, and he gives me a case of honey in return, and we give some away for Christmas presents out of that. And I'm out, by the way, but I eat about 4 of those jars. It's really good honey. But yeah, that's kind of a little tidbit. Okay, so this field of wheat, I put some starter fertilizer on it last fall when I planted it. But other than that, I got no inputs into it. I didn't spray it. Well, I take that back. I did spray a little bit. I had, when I put my Palisade and 2,4-D on the rye over there, I had a little bit left in the sprayer, so I did make pretty much about a pass as I was just emptying out the sprayer. But there's a spot over there that drowned it out pretty bad. There's a spot in the back where I'll get to a little bit later here, where it drowned it out. This is non-tiled ground, so I didn't bother putting a lot of money into it, thinking, you know, even though I got my fence around, Still getting some deer damage. If that fence wasn't up, I'm sure this would be pretty much ate right down to nothing. But yeah, I have seen a few deer, mostly does and fawns. I think maybe the does got in here and had their fawns and they feel safe here. So I'm okay with a few deer. I mean, I'm still a sportsman, even though I'm trying to make a living farming. But anyway, so yeah, so this wheat field did not have, other than seed and starter fertilizer, not a lot of inputs. I think what I'm going to do is use my all crop to take this field off, and I'm probably going to use this for my seed wheat, just because I didn't spoil it at all, like as far as like a spoiled child. So I had to work hard to get everything, and that should make a little bit stronger seed. Call me crazy for saying that, but you know, that's what I'm thinking. So in that case, I'm kind of considering not treating the seed either. I think it's about 4 acres, which should get me enough seed to give me everything I need to plant 25 acres after I take the soybeans off. And I might be crazy, but I might try it. Worst case scenario, I got the cattle and I can run the cattle on it and not have any wheat next year. Anyway, I'm just going to walk over to that far corner over there and show you the rye. Okay, now I'm standing at the edge of another small field of rye. This was just basically, when I planted this wheat field, it was just leftover wheat in the drill, and I just ran it until the wheat ran out. And you can see that there is some low spots. This is a non-tiled field, and there was some standing water in the rye and in the wheat. And I'll probably just kind of go around that when I plant, or when I combine this. I'll probably use my all crop on this little patch too, just for the fun of it. But this only had like a starter fertilizer, same starter fertilizer that I put on all of my wheat actually, but it didn't get any nitrogen on it this spring. So the other rye field had no starter fertilizer, but it had 150 pounds of triple 19, and this was just P and K last fall. I want to say it was like 40 pounds of P and K, 40 pounds P, 40 pounds K, plus whatever other junk is in the fertilizer. Probably all the stuff that chemical companies want to get rid of, they just put it in fertilizer. They didn't hear that from me. But anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to that maybe I'll get enough between this and my little test plot across the road from myself, the first part of this video. Between this and that, I'll probably get enough for myself for my cover crop, and then maybe sell a little extra, and then the other stuff will be completely sold as cover crop seed, as far as the rye goes. And then yeah, hopefully this will be enough for my seed for my wheat, and that's pretty much it. The only thing I haven't showed you yet is my little hayfield I planted, which isn't anything to brag about by any means. But I think I'm going to go move my fence for my cattle, and then I'll go over there. Yoo-hoo! 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 Come and get it, girls. Come on. Come on. Come on, apes. Well, I guess they're not real interested in new stuff. Oh, here comes April. So anyway, I opened up that part. You can see where they've eaten and where they haven't eaten yet. Just going to go wind up my fence and let the girls go to work. Okay, so while I was out here, I checked my fencer in my thing, and for whatever reason, it quit. I don't think we got any lightning or anything through all these rains, but maybe yesterday we did. I wasn't home. I was fishing yesterday while it rained here, but yeah, the one thing I will do here, I think, as soon as I'm real satisfied that they're not going to eat anymore along this ditch bank, I think I'm going to back fence this so they can't come back here. They've done a pretty good job keeping this or getting this all cleaned up, and I want to just get them off of here now and let all this green stuff grow back. And then, yeah, then maybe after a month or whatever, I'll let them back in here. But anyway, I don't really want to do that to the girls because I like giving them all this water to drink if they need one. They have a water trough up there too, but yeah, it's been kind of nice to give them a second place to drink. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna run home and grab my fencer that I have at home and see if that'll work while I figure out this other one. But yeah, luckily the cattle all stayed in with no power on that. So anyway, yeah, I still might go check in on that, go show you the hayfield I did, and but I'm gonna get that fencer going first. Well, long story short, my other fencer was not gonna work. So I went home and got this. This is the one I used for my little pasture at home, which did the job there, but that was only, you know, an acre or two or whatever. But you know, with 2 strands of wire and trimmed well and everything else. But yeah, that didn't put out enough juice to take care of this fence. So I had to run Tractor Supply and bought this one. I don't know. It seems to be putting out, but the problem is I had to plug it into my inverter, and that turns on once in a while, like a cooling fan. So I bought that inverter because I wanted to be able to charge batteries and stuff out here. Use a battery to charge a battery. Anyway, so long story short, fence is back up and running. I think I'm going to have to spend the afternoon trimming some weeds and stuff around the fence, but it is what it is. That's the joy of having cattle. So yeah, now I'll get back to that hayfield I was going to show you, and put a conclusion to our, got a visitor. We'll put a conclusion to our crop tour. Okay, so here's the reason I don't want to lock this ditch off. These girls just kind of like that ditch. I mean, the water's flowing, so it's pretty clear water. I'm not too worried about them like eroding everything out, because there's like another quarter mile of grass to filter out anything that would happen to get stirred up here before it gets to like a major ditch, which is full of grass too. So yeah, so it's pretty safe bet that they aren't going to hurt anything by being in here. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't really want to block them off from this, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to. Okay, last field, I promise. Yeah, so this is, I planted this early this spring in into hay. When I say hay, I mean there's a couple different kinds of grasses. I think Timothy and orchard grass, and there's alfalfa and clover and a whole bunch of thistles and plantain and other weeds too. But no, but this is that spot. The reason I chose to make it hay is because the deer won't let me grow anything else. So basically what it is, it's a 6-acre food plot now. And then if I can get some hay off it, that'd be great. Like, I'm guessing I could probably at least get like a first cutting, maybe a decent second cutting. We'll find out. I planted some, oh, there is sorghum Sudan in here too. I guess you can see it poking up. But, and then I'm going to go through, basically go around that stone pile. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a pain to bale. I won't be baling it or cutting it, but I'm just going to pay somebody to come in and bale it and cut it, or cut it and bale it. And then I'll get what I get out of it. It'd be great if, after it's established, if I could get, 30 bales a year off it. That'd be awesome, but I'd be probably satisfied if I got like 10 or 20 out of it. But anyway, so that's the last of the fields. That's everything. That's my whole operation. So I appreciate you guys. If you hung in there this long, I appreciate you doing that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and take her easy.